Afternoon, evening, and hello everybody, how are we all doing today? We're on the second of my two videos in regards to the new tank spots where you can physically go in the tanks after the 3.5 update, and we're kicking it off with Seacourse, one of my least favourite maps, but after I found this spot out, from seeing people actually use it in game and trying it out myself, it's quite a good game, quite a good map. Absolutely ridiculous spot. If you have the tank that can physically get up here, generally speaking, any long tanks will have an easier job of what I had in the light tanks. The speed definitely helped. Try and look at the map of where my actual tank is in between the two black lines and the white one. As soon as you go up, your tank starts sliding to the right, and then you get a slight amount of grip. Making your way up is pretty much a doddle. All you have to do is keep going left, forward, turn right, forward, left, forward, etc. You will eventually get yourself up. It's one that you can get on if you're on this side of the spawn. It's relatively quick to get up once you get used to it, because you'll find yourself doing what I'm doing, slowly but surely make up, because I'm trial and error. It's like one of the first times I got up here. But the opportunities are absolutely endless. Not only the amount of range you have in order to see where you're wanting to go, but where you can go in terms of shooting down on people as well as cover and remaining hidden. There are actually quite some good spots behind physical trees and bushes. So you can imagine how well you can actually remain undetected, especially in a tank which has the opportunity of making sure the camo is working right well, camo paint, camo net, everything like that. Not so much an ideal spot really for light tanks unless you really want to get spot and damage, because you might be better off elsewhere on the map, but if you're in a medium tank it might be a little bit better. If you can drop more damage downrange, you can immediately have people taken out. But you can see how much of an absolute, just enormous range you can physically see. Not ideal in that spot in particular for seeing anything or wanting to spot anything further forward. You do have to come down this bottom part. Now again, this is taking into account the fact that because it's so large, you can physically get down the back and move up forward and find yourself in cover behind this part of the map. This is where all the trees and the covers are, and you can see physically across onto their spawn. Now bear in mind, I did take my time getting up here. It might be a little bit easier and quicker to do if you just bum rush over to the other side, so you might already have tanks to shoot at and you have the cover of the trees as well. If you're in this position and you want to remain undetected, you have the opportunity of doing that, and I would advise it more than getting yourself detected and having people push back behind cover. The way this map has tended to go as well, I've started seeing a lot more people not pushing around this far side more the other because of the cover offered against artillery. But overall, this is a really good spot, and should you need to, you can roll down the hill, take out people on the flank. But there is another side to this map as well. There's not just our spawn. This one's slightly more difficult in going forward because you need a very fast tank. But you can do it if you wanted to actually do it on your own with another person pushing you up. But you need someone in a platoon to actually help you out. The snakebite, because it is a very fast tank, you can get up there with relative ease, is the best way of putting it. Making sure you did just in between the bush, you can launch yourself up. It's quite an okay part of the map, but more so if you have people pushing around, which if you find people around here, you're going to have them basically taking you on, and you're not going to have much opportunity to have to defend. But this is a view from Hawkins when he's up on the top of the ridge and pushing around. I do try and get a better angle, but you can see roughly how much of an actual spotting range you can get from it. It is relatively good. You can see over the top of the hills, you can see over the top of the rocks, you can get top down shots on people, and should you need to, some into the town through very specific sniping spots. Overall, relatively quite good. Hidden village. This is sort of I have seen someone use this to quite a good effect. If you're going to go around this front part, I would make sure you know that you're not going to get shot in the side. I use the T62A in this variant just because I wanted to show you that it can be done in quite a lot of different vehicles. Also because I'd actually seen someone doing the Object 140 and assumed it can be done in other tanks of various degrees, but also similar. Not ideal if people are spotted in the town. You are likely to get shot from that side, and there's not much cover for you if you are going to get shot. The lack of gun depression in this tank in particular is not very good. But if you can get up here and not get spotted and not get hit by anyone, you can roll forward, use the actual rock as cover, and shoot round to the right. There are quite a good lot of people you can actually hit from this point and remain in cover, not least of which because in this case the rate of fire would actually be quite good. You can move a little bit further up if you wanted to, and basically go where the snake bite's going now and skip all the way along. Not advisable unless people are actually killed, because you are going to get murdered yourself, but you can see roughly pretty much what you can see overall. One of the advantages I saw when one of the other people on the opposite team played this in an actual game is the peekaboo, who you can see when they shoot, take the shots, do the damage and get back into cover. Again, relying on the fact there's no one in the town to shoot you in the back, so it's all about situational awareness. I would say it's an okay spot, definitely okay. There's nothing too brilliant about it because it requires a lot of different things to actually go right for you to get into this place. If you're in the end of the game, you can see across the encounter flag, but it's not the only spot that you can physically get into. Pushing down the other side of the map, if you run all the way down and get enough speed is a requirement in quite a lot of cases, this one in particular, because the rocky ice that is clearly everywhere does kind of hinder your progress getting up, and you have to turn the tank to get the grip at the literal last second of actually falling off, making sure that you don't slide off the side. That did happen a couple of times, and that was extremely annoying. Using the left and right movement of the tank again, making sure I can try and get the grip I want to go up. Eventually I get it, but in the most unorthodox way. It's so difficult to try and get it right. And then once you're up and over, you can then take shots at artillery. More so, this is a point in which you're going to be using, if the game is late on, if you're trying to take out artillery, if you're trying to take out hunkered down positions, or just offer another avenue to draw fire onto you where you know you can get back into cover. Again, relatively good and useful for the end of the game. So it's an okay spot to go in, not one I would advise all the time. We're now on Swamp. This had a lot of different spots you can go in. You can see on the map I'm more or less in the middle. This is one of the spots in particular. If you've already pushed around from the top left hand spawn, keep rolling up. Not particularly fast in most cases, but you can do it in pretty much any tank, and there is another spot you can also get up this part, and the shots are amazing. But it's not just the amount of view range you get from this, it's the cover that is afforded by the bushes. Think of the Preval Ridge. You have lots of bushes to hide behind if you need to spot people, if you want to passively scout rather than aggressively scout. But there's also another one for this spawn again on the other side of the rock. This is, I would say this is perfectly one where you would use to start with and then move on to the next rock. Don't need that much speed, just need to make sure you hit it going dead straight, otherwise you do tend to go off to the side a bit. Once you're up, you're afforded the same sort of cover again. You can spot over the top, you can spot people coming around the side of the actual castle, and if you wanted to, you can spot people coming across the middle. Only very rare cases will actually see people do that though, because it's kind of open and a lot of people will just sit on the ridges and snipe you. But again, use this one to go forward, and then the next hill if you're pushing on. Sticking on Swamp, this is again from the what I would consider the not so good spawn in my opinion. I prefer the other one, but the premise is still the same. There's a decent little spot where you can rush up into. You'll probably find that this one isn't particularly hit by a lot of people. When they do search and they do try and spot, their guns will not be aimed up at this point. It's ideal if you're going to be passively scouting. I would not advise doing anything related to shooting your gun. There isn't that much cover available for you. If you just want to sit up here and passively scout across, that would be the best option. There will be games when you get people who are going to YOLO scout or very similar, so you want to make sure you have the option of getting into cover before they spot you. It is very, very good if you're maybe got two people to the left of you as artillery in the game, they can get shots over the top, or just ideally to see where people are actually going. Overall, this is a much better spot than the other ones. The close proximity you have to other people, the different routes you can go, makes it brilliant. The spot I've just gone up now and rolled back down, I want to see how easy it was to get up. This is very, very difficult to get up. Very difficult. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you how I managed to do it. I had so many attempts, but it's one of those spots that once you're up and above, you have amazing views over everything. It may very well be that you'll need a fast tank in order to do it, because you need to hit the center point where you get grip, turn your tank over, and you're there. Do be careful once you're going up as well. Don't do what I did on the first attempt, which is try and drive straight up, because Wargaming doesn't like that. And then Wargaming will slap you back down the hill for absolutely no reason given. So when you do it again, just go up and try and turn your tank to keep the grip there. Don't do anything where you're going to crest a hill too early, or it looks like it might be not very nice ground. Stick to the dark stuff. But again, once you're up, look at that view range. Look at what you can hit. Look at what you can stick behind. It's these types of spots where passively scouting just becomes ridiculously good. You have a bush where you can sit in camo, just have a net up, and you're just not going to be spotted by anyone, and you can see who's coming across the top and over the ridge on the left hand side. Very difficult to get up to, but the rewards are decent, if not brilliant. I wanted to include this clip on Northwest because I haven't seen many people go into it, but it is a really, really good spot. The amount of people that you can see coming from the other side and provide cover from, because you are going to be quite far away from them. If you've got camo net on, you can find yourself being behind a tree, not actually get spotted by them and provide assists. Maybe not so much spotting, but more the fact that you can see them and they can't see you. Just something to have a look into when you're actually playing. It is really easy to get back to where you actually started. You can go to other parts of the map if you wanted to as well, a bit further down. Just in this case I ended up going back up, just to show you that you can actually get back up the hill and get back out, should there need be to, or should there be a need to, I should say. Proper English, yeah. But anyway, it's not one I see people going to on a regular basis, but it's still one to look into. Arctic region, 2 in particular. Coming back onto this spawn in particular here, it's one of the ones that we found primarily because the first one is really easy to get up to in one tank. It'll provide you a good assist if you are being overrun slightly and you want to try and get the range. Maybe the people coming down the top left of the map in A1 have pushed down. You want to get the maximum view range over the top of the actual hill that you can see right in front of us here where the bunker is. Sit behind and you maybe use binos. You've still got trees as cover in some cases. You've got that extra meatage. I say that as some kind of shit language, but you have extra distance between you and the target and you can see them further and further away. This next one requires 3 tanks that I managed to find. You might be able to do it in one very, very fast tank hitting it at a slight left hand side, but we use 3 to be able to get up. Works on kind of the same principle as the ones where passively scouting is ideal for it. If you're able to get someone up here at the start of the game and they stay up here, maybe there's a case that you're likely to be overrun by one side because teams have YOLO'd down the other side. Whilst you don't have an amazing amount of cover in order to try and disguise your tank, you've got like low-lying bushes, they're all trees and they're really high up. But you have the distance to be able to see people should you need to. And if you want to take a couple of shots at some targets that maybe just outside of where you can actually be detected from, you can do that, and if you do get detected, roll back, you're in cover. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. These are the updated 3.5 little spots where you can go into, and this I think is the last one that I've managed to do. So I hope you enjoyed it, like I say. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you guys later.